Hello guys, and welcome to yet another hangout with the International Force Rape Timeline. If I sound rather uplifted tonight, it's because I've just won a poker tournament. Only a very small one. I only play very small tournaments now. Somebody once said that proficiency at snooker is a sign of a misspent youth. Well, lack of proficiency at poker is a sign of a wasted youth, but that's another story. Something I'm not so happy about is I bought a couple of memory sticks Monday from my local Argos in Penge, and they're, to put a none too fine a point on it, they're crap. Don't buy these, whatever you do. Went there Thursday and I got, well, I've got to get a refund yet, but these are pretty good, these ones, scan disc. Occasionally the disc gets a bit slow, but these are quite reliable. So I say more expensive than, I mean, buy cheap, pay twice, but these are pretty good. Right, we've got a lot of ground to cover. I'm going to call this Miscellanea because it's very, very, very miscellaneous. Starting off with Shannon Sharpe. If you haven't heard of Shannon Sharpe, he's a former American football player, American football, not soccer. Has a single-digit IQ, but having said that, he's got a lot more money than I'll ever have. He's just been sued for $50 million by some white slut for rape. They call them snow bunnies, but I think mud shark is better. I mean, these terrible, horrible creatures these are. Anyway, it appears that there was a relationship, and she's just sued him for $50 million, and he's getting booted from. He was commentator with ESPN, the network. As ever, no police report, no rape. She went straight to the civil court. I mean, this is anyone can file a civil suit at any time against anyone. So that's all I've got to say about Shannon Sharpe. Right, the next very promising case on the menu is Prince Andrew. I've made a large number of videos about this case, this non-case, over the years. As some of you may have know, his faux accuser, Virginia Giuffre, or however her name's pronounced, the former Virginia Roberts. Last month, she pulled off an absolutely crazy stunt, claiming she'd been hit by a bus in her car, a clash with a bus, crashed into a bus or whatever. She posted a photograph of her looking the worse for it and said she only had 4 days to live, which she had a kidney failure. Well, she's still alive, but this stupid stunt, which, I mean, there was actually a crash, a very minor crash, but it turns out that she's split up with her husband, who she's accused of abusing her. Sound familiar? And there's a restraining order against her, so if he's the abuser, and because of the way this sort of thing is handled by the Australian courts, there's not a lot of information out there, but it appears that he has custody of the kids. So what does that tell you? Anyway, Neil Sean, who he's a former mainstream journalist, used to do celebrity stuff, showbiz and that. He has his own YouTube channel, quite a big one, and he said that he's heard information from impeccable information, and he's usually right, this guy, that Prince Andrew may be getting his life back, as it were, soon. Now, there's a story here, there's two stories actually, on Radar Online. Actually, more than two. But this one here, exclusive. Prince Andrew's ex-girlfriend declares disgraced prince wants his life back as he plots a royal comeback. That ex-girlfriend is the wonderful Lady Victoria Harvey. This was April 21st. Prince Andrew is ready for a royal comeback, Radar Online can reveal, after questions have been raised about the credibility of a woman who accused him of raping her when she was 17. One of Andrew's ex-girlfriends says Virginia Giuffre's false claims that she had just 4 days to live have led to speculation about what else she could be lying about. Everything, like the way she was abused when she was a kid, and the two teens friends she accused of drugging and raping her in Florida. Giuffre claims she was allegedly trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and accused Andrew of sexually abusing her when she was underage. 17 is not underage. The Duke of York's voice denied his accusations, though he settled out of court in 2022 for millions without admitting guilt. The figure of 12 million has been bandied about, but Lady Colin Campbell says it was a lot less. To this charity, this whore set up, a non-profit, was a charity. Victims Refuse Silence. It's changed its name since. As part of the scandal, Andrew lost his military titles, royal patronages, and the use of his Royal Highness title. The use of his Royal Highness title. But after Giuffre claimed to have a life-ending kidney failure following a car crash with a bus in Australia, all of her previous tales have been questioned as well. Speaking out for the first time, no, not for the first time, Lady Victoria has been going on about this for years, said Giuffre's bogus Instagram post is evidence that she's a career victim who ruined the life of the late Queen Elizabeth's son. Yes. Harvey said he wants his life back, he wants to be exonerated. I think what has happened now brings together all of Giuffre's inconsistencies. And she goes on to explain that even though Andrew settled his accused, it was only to put the entire situation behind him at a critical time in his life. And the Queen was very ill, and she had his business with this Meghan Markle character. Well, it developed, and that was a pain for the whole royal family. Says the Queen was not well at the time. The palace thought it would be better to just have the whole thing go away. She said he did want to fight her, but he wasn't allowed to. He should get his money back. Everyone inside her agreed, arguing that Andrew was a victim of fraud. Giuffre's credibility is zero. She's never told the truth about anything, the source slammed. She was never trafficked. She told people that the time with Epstein was the best years of her life. She got paid to have sex with important people, and now it's all coming out. Well, that's what I've been saying for years. Giuffre's claims were torn apart by her own brother, Sky Roberts, who explained, let's be clear, she never stated the bus accident was the cause of all her other injuries. Roberts confirmed doctors had told his sister she would have died within 4 days had she not received medical treatment, not that she just had days to live. In a revelation that raised more questions over what really happened, Roberts added, nobody ever said her liver issues and kidney failure, whatever from that. These people are just, they're playing word games. It goes back to Lady Victoria. Harvey previously told Mail Online the backlash is all karma for Giuffre, and expressed further scepticism about her claims, saying, Virginia Giuffre is a fantasist. It's been a long drawn out process these last few years, but it's unravelling. Her lies are being exposed. Everything in the article is what I've said. When Andrew had that interview with Emily Maitlis, where he sat down with her, it clearly wasn't briefed properly. What he should have done when she asked him about sex and the photograph, he should have taken out of his pocket the article that was published in the Mail on Sunday in February 2011 and read from it. There's no suggestion that she had sex with the prince. ladder, yada yada yada. Don't suggest I put anything wrong. That's what she said at the time. Was she saying something different now? What do you think that does to her credibility? Did you have sex with her or not? A gentleman never tells. And that should have terminated the interview at that point. The thing I noticed that she sold her story for $160,000 to the Daily Mail Online, and when she was, I think she was going to court recently. She was out of hospital bed anyway. A male, I think it was a male, yeah, it definitely was a male person tried to talk to her, spoke to her, and she gave him the finger, or she gave this journalist the finger. 160 grand. Yeah, I'm still of the opinion that photograph is genuine. I'll put the photograph here. Lady Victoria insists it's faked, and she believes she knows the person. Well, there's more than one person actually who's responsible for it. I still think it's genuine, but there are questions about Lady Colin Campbell mentioned, and I agree that when they met in London, allegedly met in London, it was the coldest night of the year, and she wasn't dressed for a cold night. And if she'd been to Tramp, well, if she'd been to Tramp Discotheque, a private club, if she went to Tramp with Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine, 18 plus, right? So, and the age of consent in England is 16. But I would have expected, if Prince Andrew had been seen in the company of a teenager, very physically very attractive, let's put it that way. If he'd been seen in the company of an attractive teenager with long hair, that I think there would have been some sort of reporting about somebody would take a photograph at the club or leaving the club. But no. Having said that, I still think the photograph is genuine, but I'm more than willing to stand corrected, and I don't for one moment dispute Lady Victoria Harvey's veracity. She's a remarkable woman. Right, I said this is going to be miscellanea, and very miscellanea. With the rise of, if you, I presume you've been using YouTube quite a lot, like me, but now when you have speech, when people are talking, there's and automatically you can generate. It's coming up to 10 to 3. So when you run the program, well, when you run the video, it generates text automatically. I've been looking for more foreign language, more overseas rape allegations. Quite a lot from India, which has, as I said before, has a marvellous English language press, and throughout the Anglosphere, where English is spoken as a first or principal language. I found a video on YouTube from France. Saint-Nazaire, un policier inventa un faux viol et envió un innocent en prison. I did 6 years of French at school, and I can't, well, faux viol is false rape. This is from a channel called Dernière Nouvelles, with 2.4 thousand subscribers. It was uploaded on March the 25th, 2021, and by April the 20th, happy birthday Adolf and Andrew Savage, by April 20th this year, it had been viewed only 18 times. Okay, it's, French, but I mean, a lot of people use the internet in France, I happen to know one a guy, I might be meeting him later this year again, who runs a fan website. Not for me. I got the transcript and I used Google Translate, and it reads as follows in English. A police officer from the Saint-Nazaire-Loire police station, Atlantique, appeared in court on Monday for forgery of public documents and use of forgery in 2018 while investigating a rape story. She heard a man placed in police custody. The suspect denies the facts, but the police officer decides, on the contrary, to indicate on the report who confessed to him. Following this, the man is placed in pre-trial detention. There's no punctuation here, so, well, very little anyway. No punctuation. He is innocent, but past 1 year in prison is the recording video of the interrogation, which demonstrated that the word had no effect. Reality, nothing admitted, heard by the IGPN, the police of the police. The 50-year-old civil servant at the head of the group affected people, St. Nazaire police station, declares that he was nevertheless convinced of the guilt of the suspect, a conviction yet without proof she added as extenuating circumstances that she was going through a period difficult and was depressed at the time of the facts which could have influencing her age. It loses something in translation, obviously. She was finally sentenced to 2 years in prison, but her sentence will not be written on the part of his criminal record visible to employers. I think that means her criminal record. The innocent man who spent a year in pre-trial detention has since been released and cleared, and also received €30,000 in compensation for his year behind bars. See also, Camelia Jordana denounces police violence. Karine Abuja also read ugly. This DNA block. It sounds like there was a rape, but he wasn't the one who committed it. I might delve further into that, but it's a lot of aggravation just a lot of aggravation. As if that were not bad enough, I was asking GROK again to give me some false rape cases. I think I asked, give me cases from Denmark, and I got here, Inge V. In 1991, she confessed to falsely accusing Ad Schagen of rape, claiming she did so out of revenge. This case resulted in the dismissal of charges against Schagen due to numerous inconsistencies in her story. Temuco case 2016, a tragic case where a 13-year-old boy was tortured and killed after being falsely accused of raping a 5-year-old girl. Forensic evidence later showed no indication of rape, proving the accusation false. This resulted in the arrest of 4 adults involved in a vigilante justice against the boy. And there's a repeat here of case of Inge v 1991. Bank manager case 2017. A bank manager from UCO Bank's Vrindavan, I presume Vrindavan branch, was arrested for allegedly raping a 20-year-old Russian woman repeatedly. However, further investigation revealed the allegations were false. The case was reported by midday, I presume that's a newspaper or website, indicating that the woman had made up the story. I shall pursue them. I asked about Portugal and one here from Alaska. I asked for cases from Alaska. Isaac Weber, Weber case. Isaac Weber found his name on an anonymous list of accused abusers published on social media in Anchorage. He and his mother believed it was included as a cruel joke, although there was some evidence to corroborate this. This incident highlights the potential for collateral damage for such lists. Julia Hayworth case. In St. Michael, Alaska, Julia Hayworth was accused of soliciting the rape of a man who allegedly owed her money. This is a reverse scenario where she was accused of orchestrating a false rape claim, but it shows the complexity of such allegations. Clarice Hardy case. Hardy, a former police dispatcher in Nome, that's Nome, Nome, Alaska, reported a sexual assault, but the case was not investigated by the Nome Police Department. Although initially reported as a sexual assault, the case was later settled with the city for $750,000. And it was described that she had been falsely accused of making up the rape claim after the police failed to investigate her legitimate report. Tammy Edwards from Brading. Asked from Isle of Wight as well. Admitting to making 17 false calls to emergency services. Frank Vexai case. Frankie Vexai. Vexsei from Benbridge, Isle of Wight, was pleaded guilty to persistent use of public communication network to cause a night. So, I mean, I'll look these things up. I mean, last time I did this, if you watched my GROK video, my video about GROK and ChatGPT, it gave me a load of rubbish. Well, I say rubbish. I mean, one of the people accused of making a false rape allegation was a judge who was judging a rape case. So as I said before, this is really artificial intelligence. It's what's called a large language model, abbreviated to LLM, and it doesn't understand time. So, I mean, one of the questions I asked GROK or ChatGPT was what married couple appeared on the Morecambe Wise show, and it said Elton John and Renata Blue in 1973. Elton John didn't meet Renata Blue until 1983 and married her the following year. They also said Terry Scott and June Whitfield, they played a married couple. They played they're both now deceased, of course. Terry Scott long since. They played a married couple in a series called Terry and June, but they weren't married to each other. I mean, didn't understand the time thing. You know, how Elton John could have been on the program with his wife before he met her, and it doesn't understand the difference between a real marriage and an imaginary marriage, and other things as well. But no doubt it will improve. Anyway, I'm going to keep using. These. They do improve. I use them for other things as well. You can find stuff, but you have to double check and treble check, because it isn't quite as bad as Wikipedia. But you know, just because artificial intelligence, a large language model tells you something, doesn't mean it's true. Now, this is very interesting. The front page of the South Wales Echo, Lake City edition, August 26, 1993, in big block letters, prosecute carjack woman, exclaim. That was a false rape case of a woman who, a married hairdresser, she claimed to have been kidnapped and in her car and raped. It turned out she made it up. And at the end of the article, it says there have been two similar cases in South Wales in recent months. On August 9th, police called off the hunt for the youth alleged to have raped a 14-year-old schoolgirl in Trelai Park, Ely, as a gang cheered on. She still insists she was raped, but police don't think so, so she wasn't. And last November, a 19-year-old student retracted her story that she had been raped at knife point during the rush hour, just 300 yards from Cardiff's main shopping area. I thought, I missed that one. It does sound rather implausible, doesn't it? Anyway, that turns out the paper got it wrong. So I'm going to include that page in the timeline at some point, but I have to correct that, or maybe put a link to this video. It turned out that there was indeed this girl was indeed raped, and the bloke who raped her, this wasn't a one-off. If I can open this PDF, I'm using a my computer went kaput. This one I got from the guy from the local shop saved my life. Like this is an old one cost me 120 quid, and it's very, very slow, but I can't afford a new one at the moment. Rapist faces prison. The jobless teenager has been warned he faces a long stretch behind bars after admitting rape and a string of other sex offences. Yeah, I've got several reports on this, but this is from November 12th, 1993, page 11 of the same newspaper. I think, is it? South Wales Echo, yeah. Dean Sexton was remanded in custody after he confessed to offences involving 3 women. The teenager in Newport Road, Cardiff, was warned by Mr. Justice Kay at Cardiff Crown Court he was not going to be around for a long time. He also admitted raping the 19-year-old woman on January 21st. It's another one. Decently assaulting robbing a 19-year-old woman on January 21st. He also admitted robbing and abducting a 20-year-old clerk on February 5th. And he pleaded guilty to attempting to rape a 17-year-old shop assistant on May 6th. Charges of abducting a 19-year-old and attempting to rape her were denied by Sexton, and the judge ordered they lie on file. Yeah, I don't think that denial counts so much somehow. There was an ID of him in the paper, a photo fit. So that is Dean Sexton from South Wales Echo, February 11th, 1983, page 17. There's a story about Shirley Bassey on the same page. I hope she didn't meet him. I doubt it. Right. He actually tried to commit suicide. Here we are. It's a nasty piece of work. Suicide bid prison officers praised. This is 24th of June 1993. Officers at Cardiff Prison were praised today for their swift action and compassion by the father of a young remand prisoner who found his cellmate hanging from a window. Mr. Justice Roberts from Barry described the prison officers as brilliant. Prison officers gave 18-year-old Dean Sexton the kiss of life. I don't know if I've done it over somehow. He was found hanging from a bedsheet. And when he got his just desserts, this is January 15th, 1994, so he was on remand for a long time. Teenage rapist is jailed for 10 years. Teenage rapist Dean Sexton was jailed for 10 years after he committed 3 brutal attacks on women. He cited 1 woman in a churchyard, raped another and tried to rape a third after stabbing her through the neck with a screwdriver. He got 10 years. I think it's only his age was the only mitigation. I mean, no, he should have got. I mean, stab somebody in the neck. You know, I mean, just, no. Sorry, 10 years is not enough. He'd have been out in 7.5, if not less than that. No. Anyway, talking about the churchyard, the graveyard. I found another case which I haven't added to the database yet, of a woman who claimed to have been raped in a graveyard, and she had a son with her, a 12 or 13-year-old son, and he grassed her up. I can't remember if she had sex with this dude or there was no sex at all, consensual sex or no sex at all, but that they do. Women are strange creatures, as you may know, and they do make bizarre allegations for all manner of reasons and none. They're not the only ones, of course. Right, here's another one I won't be adding to the database as things stand. This is from the West Lancashire Evening Gazette on July the 29th, 1988. Page 3. Men cleared of sex attack. 2 disabled Fleetwood men have been cleared of subjecting a woman to a brutal sex attack. It was alleged that after the 55-year-old man raped the 20-year-old, I'll enlarge the text bits of it. No, it's large but blurred. It was alleged that the 55-year-old man raped the 28-year-old woman. He held her down and asked his blind friend, 59, to join in. But a jury at Liverpool Crown Court took 2 hours to find him not guilty. Earlier in the 4-day trial, prosecutor Mr. Rhys Davis QC said that the 55-year-old had lusted after the mother of 4 for some time, and he alleged the attack happened when the woman was also from Fleetwood and got to the blind man's flat to wait for her boyfriend, as she would do. When the 3 were alone, Mr. Rhys Davis said they subjected the woman to humiliation and brutality as they took turns to hold her down and rape her. The 2 men denied rape and said while they did have sex with the woman, she consented. Yeah, I won't be adding that to the timeline somehow. Right, Harvey Weinstein on trial for rape again. This is from First Alert 6, WOWT.com. Weinstein's #MeToo retrial opens with added allegations from a former model by the Associated Press. And so there's a photograph of him sitting at the desk in the courtroom, looking, well, not looking that good for a man of his age. And this is a teenage model and a movie model. While the jury won't hear about the allegations and got the first conviction thrown out, the panel is expected to hear from Sokola. Sokola being Kaja Sokola. And she claims that he's criminally charged with forcing oral sex on her in 2006. But she accused him of a civil suit of gravity against her will 4 years earlier when she was 16. And she hated it so much she went back for more. Yeah. I mean, the Polish Sokola met Weinstein in 2002 after travelling alone to New York for a modelling trip at age 16. Something she shouldn't do, according to prosecutors. She allegedly invited her to lunch to discuss potential acting jobs, but detoured to his apartment and demanded she take off her shirt if she wanted to make it in the movie business. Then Sokola alleges Weinstein fondled her while making her touch his genitals. Over the next few years, Sokola stayed in contact with Weinstein, even after telling him off for allegedly groping him in a car around 2004. Lucy told jurors, Lucy, L-U-C-Y, that's obviously a prosecutor. Let's have a look. Shannon Lucy, the prosecutor. She said Weinstein arranged for Sokola to be an extra in the 2007 rom-com, The Nanny Diaries, and she invited him to lunch to impress her visiting sister. How you would do? Hi sis, this is the guy who raped me. I mean, seriously? And here we have outside court, Sokola's attorney declared Weinstein's defence as full of victim blaming and rape myths. Rape myths. Believe women. How can you not believe women? No. If she keeps going back, that implies consent, doesn't it? I've said this before. He's a pig, but a pig isn't a rapist. Russell Brand is back in the news. He's been accused of rape, several offences, and he's in the United States at the moment. We've got up here at a London court, I think what used to be Horseferry Road, on May, I think it's May the 4th or May the 7th. I mean, this is, as I said before, I know exactly what the prosecution is going to say. None of these women know each other. So unless it's a conspiracy, ho, 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 he's guilty. And if you believe that, I'll put a link to my video, how the police convict people of imaginary crimes. And yes, I know the police don't convict people, the courts do, but so that'll be interesting to follow, to watch. I'm hoping he'll be acquitted on all counts, but you know, it's very, very dodgy. He's dodgy because jurors can be very fickle, and they can also be very dumb, as Rolf Harris found out, and the late Max Clifford and many other people. Right, this is one I haven't added to the timeline yet, but I will be. Arrested on rape charge 8 years back, Jomon feels resurrected after complainant confesses to false allegation. This is from thehindu.com, as you might guess, might deduce is an Indian newspaper, Indian site. April 19th. C.D. Jomon, a native of Ayam Kudi near Kadathuruthi, was having dinner with his wife and 2 infant kids after evening prayers when police officers arrived at his doorstep. Without any explanation, they forcibly took him away. On the way to the station, Jomon pleaded with officers to know why he was being arrested, but it was only upon reaching the station that he was informed of a shocking accusation: rape. Jomon, who owned a paramedical training institute in Kurupanthara, was arrested in December 2017. It was around 7:30 p.m. They handcuffed me in front of my wife and our 2 small children. I was paraded through the streets for a crime I had no knowledge of, he recalled. Those were released later that night. Jomon was rearrested just days later and remanded into judicial custody. After spending a month in prison, he was granted bail, but by then the damage was done. The police repeatedly raided his institute and eventually sealed it as part of the probe. The full weight of the accusation became clear 6 months later when the police submitted a charge sheet, and he was accused of raping a student during a train journey in June 2016 and threatening her with harm. She revealed the incident. Legal proceedings dragged on for years with significant delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, tell me about it. But in January this year, a turning point came. The complainant confided to her classmates that she fabricated the accusations at the behest of her boyfriend, so a man is to blame. Encouraged by a friend, she appeared in court on January 31st to admit the case was false. Days later, the court acquitted Jomon. I lost everything. My institution, my name, my peace of mind. At one point, I even thought of ending my life. I mean, it's just... it says here, she was manipulated by her boyfriend, Jomon explained. He tricked her into signing a blank sheet of paper on which she later wrote the false complaint. Before going to the police, he even tried to blackmail me for money. Yeah, well, I mean, accusations made purely for financial reasons are quite rare in the West, but in India, I mean, India is a different place, man. I mean, there's all sorts of bizarre false rape allegations there, and the like. But I'm glad he got justice eventually, even if he did lose his business. Anyway, I haven't added that to the timeline yet. I will in due course. And we'll finish off with this one. I haven't added this to the timeline. I'm not sure I will. Rape lies cost me job and my bride. Nightmare. This is from March 25th, 1997. Daily Record, Sunday Mail. I'm reading from Newsbank. This is March the 26th, 1997. So I'm not sure if that's Sunday or weekday or whatever. Storeman Eric Andrews told yesterday how a Good Samaritan act plunged him into a 15-month nightmare. Eric, 35, offered 2 women a lift to a disco and ended up being charged with intent to rape, so not actual rape, intent to rape. He lost his job, his marriage plans were put on ice, and he faced a terrifying ordeal on appearing in High Court. But his nightmare finally ended yesterday when the case was thrown out of court. At his home in Stewarton, Ayrshire, Eric said last night, "I'm still trying to come to terms with this whole sorry business." He dropped off his fiancée and was driving in the city to buy a kebab when he stopped at traffic lights. A girl tapped on his car window, asking if he would give her £1 a lift. I remember thinking at the time, she'll get me to bother somehow. But it was after midnight and I thought, well, why not? Moments after, one of the girls got into the front seat. She pulled a screwdriver, put it in my neck and demanded £20 for herself and her pal. She said, if you don't fucking well get the money, we will charge you with trying to rape us. Eventually managed to pull the woman from the car, but when he told his story to police, they did not believe him. Yeah, this sort of thing has happened. There's one on the time, at least one on the timeline, Jacqueline something, the highway woman. And during the case, the High Court in Glasgow heard the prosecution claim that Eric had pretended to be a private hire taxi driver when he picked up the women. Claimed when he took a wrong turn and she asked him. The 28-year-old claimed when he took a wrong turn and she asked him to let her out of the car. But she said he locked them in the car, opened the boot and returned with a pair of surgical gloves and a metal bar. I mean, Eric admitted a minor assault on the woman by pushing her and pulling her to the ground. It was admonished by temporary judge Alistair Stewart. Al Stewart. Oh dear, they should write a song about this. Who said he accepted his version of the events. Eric's lawyer, Francis McMenamin, told the court what happened arose from an act of kindness. Yeah, no good deed goes unpunished. Yeah, I'm inclined to believe him. It's bizarre, but what else can I say? Anyway, that's the latest hangout. I don't usually do 2 in a month now. Anyone wants to send me any cases or anything else, you know where I am. If you don't play poker, don't learn. If you don't know poker, don't learn. If you do know it, don't play it except free rolls. And if you're using GROK or ChatGPT or any AI program for knowledge or for drawing stuff or whatever, I presume it's calculating, you know, for mathematics will be spot on, but if it's anything to do with the real world or the imaginary world, always double check and treble check, because I say it doesn't really understand. It isn't artificial intelligence. It's well, yeah, it's artificial intelligence, but artificial consciousness doesn't know what it's doing. Anyway, I've added some stuff already to the timeline this month, and I'll be adding hopefully some more before the end of the month. So I'll leave it there.